Chapter 16. The next day in the hotel, Beth woke up at 5:30. She packed her things and prepared to leave for the 9 hours of her trip left. At 6 o'clock, Beth began her journey home. She could hardly wait to see her family again, and maybe, by luck, Tahra would be there. She hoped more than anything Nick and Kate were able to bring Tahra home while she was away. That would be the best surprise to come home to, and she wondered if anything else had happened that she had missed out on. Beth figured it was only a few days she was gone. It wasn't like the entire world she knew had changed somehow. At the Sea Paper in Tahra's castle, the clock shone 7:02 as Tahra opened her eyes. Lacey, Bella, and Ella were standing on the bed on top of her legs and on her belly. "Good morning, Tahra," Bella greeted cheerfully, peering straight into her face. "It's about time," added Lacey sarcastically. "Come on, let's go swing from vines." "Or take another flight," Ella chimed in. "Now hold on, all of you. I just woke up. I will be out in a little while," stated Tahra, a little annoyed, yet trying to hide her smile. "Okay, take your time, but hurry up," snickered Lacey, swinging out the window. Tahra opened her closet and found something to wear for the day. Then she went downstairs to the kitchen. She knew there was endless possibilities of what she could make herself for breakfast, but finally it wouldn't involve apples or blueberries. At the same time, in Glowing Springs at the police station, Kate was still asleep. "Kate, it's time to get up for school," spoke Nick. "Good morning, Dad," greeted Kate as she opened her eyes. She sprang up and threw her arms around him. She had never been happier to see her father until now. Last night she was so worried about him, and here he was safe. All she hoped was Tahra would be the next person she would be waking her up, and she knew her dearest sister was safe at last. "Here is your outfit for today, which the headquarters provided for you," explained Nick, handing Kate an outfit for the day. Downstairs, Marietta had been making breakfast. "Marietta, is the fire gone?" asked Kate hopefully. With a sigh, Marietta replied sleepily, "I'm afraid not yet, but the flames haven't reached your house. I also sent out a search party for your sister. They left immediately and will stop at nothing to find her." "Thank you so much. You have no idea how much it means for us to hear you say that." Kate sighed relief to hear a little bit of hope. The little one hugged the chief tightly to demonstrate her appreciation. "No problem. It's what we do," Marietta replied. "My mom is coming home today. We will bring her here," Marietta finished, taking on yet another task to her endless pile of things to do. Kate and Nick gave Marietta a good description of Beth's car so they'd be able to find her easier. They told her it was a black sparkly Hummer with the left taillight broken and a slightly banged-up bumper. Once Kate was done eating breakfast, Nick drove her to school. Back at the Sea Paper, Tahra finished her breakfast and then went outside the castle. Lacey sprang up and quickly ran over to Tahra. "Ready to swing and jump on vines?" inquired Lacey with plenty of energy. "Almost. I want to do one more thing first," Tahra responded. "What would that be?" "Make a pair of gloves so my hands will be more protected." Tahra went over to a tree that grew paper and chose the color she wanted of her gloves, royal purple. Tahra folded the paper to make gloves. Instantly they became real. "Now I am ready," informed Tahra, walking over to Lacey. Lacey responded by springing up with a large smile. Meanwhile, on set, yesterday they had finished recording the movie. Today they had to go through and edit it and add the credits. To make the tedious editing process easier and faster, it was constantly worked on throughout the filming process. After a handful of days and scenes passed, the team would take a day spent on editing. Today they needed to edit the most recent filmed scenes and look over the entire production to make sure there were no bumps. Jason, the director, is hoping to finish it today, but can't be positive that he will. Nick is really good at editing and catching tiny mistakes, so he is in Jason's office reviewing it with him. The others are working on creating the credits. Nick watched carefully every detail that passed the screen, looking for obvious errors which needed to be redone. Nick always had an eye for picking out a mistake and figuring out how to correct it, which was helpful to directors when it came to editing. He wished he was good at finding things as he was editing, because then he figured he would have been able to find Tahra by now. During that moment, Tahra was having so much fun swinging and jumping from vines that she didn't even notice it was now midday. "Lacey, is it okay if we stop? I'm getting hungry and hot," called Tahra. "Sure thing," replied Lacey, jumping down on the ground. Lacey, too, only now took notice of how late it had gotten. She was glad she was able to swing much longer today than yesterday with Tahra using her new gloves. Tahra went back to her castle to make herself lunch again with endless possibilities. It took her several minutes to decide what she wanted to make, when she realized she only wanted something simple. After lunch, it was really warm out. "Come swim with us," Snowflake called to Tahra. She turned to face the two dolphins and beamed. Before Tahra could say anything, Nicole added, "It's a hot day. Swimming will cool you off." Tahra smiled and said, "I'll be right in. Just let me change into a swimsuit." Golden Ray flew over at the speed of light and pushed Tahra in the water. Tahra was laughing so hard that if she wasn't holding on to Nicole, she probably would not have been able to stay afloat. After a moment, she made herself calm down. Then she began to swim in the nice water. It was a lot more fun swimming with dolphins in the large open water than it had been to swim in the stream by herself. Then she discovered something extremely odd. The sea was not salt water, but completely fresh. Meanwhile, on the road, Beth was only 2 miles from the town. She noticed the sky filled with dark gray billows, and the air seemed thicker. She thought it was clouds, and that it was about to rain, and didn't know it was smoke. As she got closer, she realized that the dark gray was smoke. The smoke hovered in the town, but it was still safe to be outside. But should the fire continue longer, the smoke would get thicker, and no one should be outside. "Wow, I guess everything can change the world around me in only a few days," thought Beth sadly to herself. Marietta was standing on the sidewalk, watching carefully the cars coming in that direction. She had been standing there for a while now, since she wasn't certain the time Beth would return from her trip. However, since the flames still raged on, she would switch with someone every little bit so she could help chart the flames. Marietta recognized the car Kate described as her mom's, a sparkly black Hummer, and she saw the cracked tail light. Marietta walked over to Beth at a stop sign before she could take off. "Is your name Beth Strong?" Marietta implored. "Yes, it is," replied Beth, not knowing why this lady in a police uniform was asking. "Well, the forest is on fire and you can't get to your house, so come with me to the station." Beth was astonished, but she nodded, not wanting to question anything at this time. Marietta led Beth back to the station. She took up the wooden steps. "Here's your room Nick and Kate are staying in," Marietta informed. "The horses are safe downstairs in the left wing if you desire to visit them. Also, Kate told me about your daughter Tahra. I have units out searching. We will find her." "Thank you so much. I better go pick Kate up from school," Beth stated, knowing she had no other way home, and that Nick would have wanted her to. Beth called the school to let them know she was going to come pick Kate up. A few moments later, Kate was outside waiting for Beth to come pick her up, and Miss Sarah was waiting with her. "Let me make sure I got this right," stated Miss Sarah. "I will meet you at the same time at the police station." "You got it." Just then, Beth pulled up. "Bye, Miss Sarah. I will see you in an hour." Kate climbed in her mother's car and buckled up. "Mom, how was your trip to New York?" she asked. "Way different than I could ever have imagined it," Beth replied, thinking of all the chaos that happened unexpectedly. "Did you hear about the bad accident on Saturday?" questioned Kate, reflecting back on how the radio told her there had been a 2-hour backup. "I did. I was stuck in that traffic for 2 hours, Beth explained. "So, what made your trip so different than expected?" questioned Kate curiously. "Well, it took forever to get there. I got royal treatment at a restaurant for no particular reason. The most unexpected was the accident in the printing room." The rest of the way back, Beth told what happened in the printing room and how she got to see her former teacher again. "Now I see why you said way different than you imagined," her daughter agreed. Beth nodded and added, "I can see it has been different around here while I was in New York, so fill me in on the details." Back at the sea of paper, Tahra decided she had enough swimming for one day. When Tahra reached the land, Ella, Bella, and Golden Ray met her. "Climb aboard and we'll dry you off in the air," explained Bella. Tahra smiled and stood up on Ella and Bella. The eagles flapped their wings and took off into the sky. Once more, Tahra felt as though everything in the world faded away as she floated through the endless sky. She wished she could fly on her own and spend all day flying and floating through the beautiful blue sky as a fairy would. She imagined resting down on a cloud and floating by the world below. When she was way up there, it seemed as though everything everywhere was perfect. Meanwhile, Kate took the horses outside of the guest barn as Miss Sarah came walking over. "Ready to go?" sought Kate. "Yes, but where are we going to look?" responded Miss Sarah, a little thrown off from not being on the mountains. "Somewhere outside of town. We'll split up like on the mountains and highlight our path. Also be back at 6 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock. "Okay, I'll go the direction I always go," responded Miss Sarah helpfully. With that, they both rode off in opposite directions. Kate wondered exactly where the police were searching for Tahra. She figured they were probably looking all over, far and wide, so what else would be the point of herself and Miss Sarah searching for Tahra if only in a small area? Beth was going to stay at the headquarters and rest instead of looking for Tahra, even though she wanted to look for Tahra more than anything, but she was about ready to collapse. She knew it would only cause more problems if she went out searching and passed out, so she thought better of it. At 6 o'clock, Kate and Miss Sarah arrived back at the police station. Kate got off of Livy and helped Miss Sarah down off Scarlet. Crystal's leg was well enough she could technically be rode on once again today. However, Kate didn't want to take any chances, especially because it was evident her leg still hurt from the burns. Now Crystal was able to understand how Miss Sarah must feel having a broken arm. They were sharing a similar story now due to their injuries. Beth, as a result, allowed Miss Sarah to take Scarlet, which was a little awkward at first, being on a different horse than she was used to. Not to mention, Scarlet, too, felt awkward at first having a new rider. Kate and Miss Sarah unsaddled the horses and got ready to groom them. When Kate had left her house, she hadn't thought to bring anything with for the horses, so they had what they had at the headquarters, there including the saddles. "Miss Sarah, I have something very important to do. Could you please groom Lily for me?" requested Kate. "Sure thing," Miss Sarah replied, glad to be helping. After all, Kate had been helping her so much lately, like getting on and off Crystal, so it was the least she could do in return. "Okay, thanks so much." Kate headed off at once, watching the sky, scanning for the helicopter. At last she saw it hovering above. Kate stood a little from the helicopter so that Marietta or the pilot would see her standing there. Then one of the two noticed her, and Marietta released the ladder and she climbed up. Marietta looked even more exhausted than she had earlier. "Marietta, let me take over. Go get some rest," Kate instructed, seeing Marietta's tiredness. "Can you handle watching the flames, writing it down, and announcing it?" Marietta replied, a little concerned but thankful Kate was offering. She really needed rest. "Yes, are you sure?" "Positive," replied Kate, sure of herself and confident in her answer. "Okay, thank you. I'm so tired. I stayed up all night," she began to explain, and Kate interrupted. "All night?" "Yes, thank you again for helping out. If you need any help, just wake me up. I will be in the very back of the helicopter." "Okay," responded Kate, taking the seat by the computer. At the sea of paper, Tahra sat on the yellow sand, which in the setting sun's light made it look like a golden orange. All the birds gathered in front of Tahra. The other animals sat near Tahra, forming a half a circle around the birds. The birds sang their beautiful songs together in harmony to make one wonderful song. The birds continued singing, but one cardinal, Carrie, flew over to Tahra. "This song has a melody, but needs words. Will you sing words to the tune?" chirped Carrie hopefully. "I could try," spoke Tahra, unsure if she could. "Great, get started." At first Tahra struggled to get the right words, but then they flowed through her, which always happened when she would come up with a new song. Although this was the first time she ever wrote words to a melody before. The melody played by the birds, the singing by Tahra, was all tied together with a beautiful magenta, rich purple, sky blue, orange, and gold sunset over the sea of paper. All of a sudden, Carrie called out above the rest, "Wait a minute, Tahra! You didn't read a chapter of the book you started yesterday." All the birds stopped chirping, and Tahra stopped singing. Everyone looked at Carrie and realized she hadn't read any of the book today. "Oops, I guess I forgot, but I can't read it now," Tahra answered, coming to the realization as well. "Why not?" Carrie demanded. "It would be too hard to read in this light. I promise I will read some tomorrow." Back above the mountains, Kate had been watching the flames for the past hour. Not much had occurred. It only spread a little bit, thankfully. Then a voice came over the communication device. "Marietta, come in, Marietta." Kate didn't want to wake Marietta, so she went over to the speaker. "Marietta's assistant, Kate, go ahead." "This is Nashville. Our fire planes have returned. Do you still need help fighting the fire?" Nashville's fire chief asked. "Yes, all the help we can get." "All right, then I will send them immediately." "Okay, thank you so very much." "You're welcome, and if you don't think just us will be enough, you could ask Washington, D.C. for help too." Kate felt relieved to know that help was on the way. She wanted to have Washington, D.C.'s help, but did not have a clue how to ask. Kate went up to the pilot. "I think we'll need the help from Washington, D.C. Do you know how to ask them?" Kate asked politely, making the executive decision as the leader she was clearly born to be. "Yes, I will put them on for you," the pilot replied gently. The pilot dialed Washington, D.C. Fire Company and then handed the receiver to Kate. "Glowing Springs into Washington, D.C. This is Kate." "Go ahead, Kate," responded the fire chief. "We need you to send your fire planes down here, please." "How bad is the fire?" "Not good. It spreads really fast and is rather large." "When did the fire first start?" "Yesterday." "How about Nashville? Aren't they helping?" the fire chief asked. "Yes, they are on their way." "Then what do you need us for?" To help fight the fire, spoke Kate, trying to stay calm but getting irritated. Few of our planes are out getting repaired right now. I will send a few later. Later as in when? Maybe 2 hours or first thing tomorrow. They clicked off and the pilot looked at Kate and smiled. She knew then she had done a good job at requesting help. Back at the Sia paper, the sun was gone and the stars slowly lit up the dark night sky. The birds stopped singing their melody. I guess that's all for today, spoke Tahra, preparing to stand up. What? Not yet, Snowflake cried with a little sarcasm in her voice. It's dark out. What could we possibly do? Well, we could look up at the stars. Okay, then, let's do it, agreed Tahra, for she loved watching the stars. At the same time, back in the air above the fire, the Nashville fire planes just arrived. Are those coming from Nashville? Inquired Marietta, coming from the back of the helicopter. Yes, they are, answered Kate proudly. I thought they would never come, Marietta replied, a little annoyed, but relieved. I only hope it isn't too late. How much change occurred in the last hour and a half? Not much. Take a look. Marietta looked at the computer screen. The worried look in her eyes faded to relieved. Kate did a great job watching the fire while you rested, informed the pilot. I'm glad to hear that. She did do a wonderful job yesterday. She might have been born to be a chief. Kate blushed from all the kind words. It's getting late. You should probably get back to headquarters, Marietta declared to Kate. You didn't get enough sleep, replied Kate, still seeing the sleepiness in her eyes. Better than nothing. Tell you what, I will keep an eye on the flames a little longer and you get a little more sleep. All right, but only because you are so good at watching the fire. She smiled brightly and pat the little girl on the back. While all of this was happening, Tahra had fallen asleep below the glittering stars. Many birds had flown back to their cozy nests, including Carrie. Lacey was asleep by Tahra's side, curled up in a tiny ball. Nicole and Snowflake had gone to their resting place. The moon slowly was getting covered with the clouds along with the rest of the dark night sky. Lacey awoke and saw Tahra beside her. She quickly got up so she wouldn't awaken Tahra. Then she swung from branch to branch until Lacey got back to her favorite tree. She climbed up to one of the highest branches and made herself comfortable in her favorite spot. She curled herself into a little ball and yawned as she closed her eyes. Back on the mountains, an hour had passed and it was now 8:30. Marietta came out from the back of the helicopter. Thank you so much for your help. I honestly cannot thank you enough. She paused briefly to embrace Kate and then continued reluctantly releasing her. But you better get back to headquarters. Okay, I will see you in the morning, said Kate, starting to sound tired. Marietta put the ladder down, and with a smile, Kate climbed down. Marietta would probably have been able to fall into a deep sleep for hours, but she wouldn't let herself. She was too worried about the fire and Tahra to sleep and not wake up every hour. Once they defeated the fire, Marietta would be able to relax and get a good night's rest. Meanwhile, at the Sia paper, it began to downpour out of nowhere. The cold rain awoke Tahra instantly. She quickly sprang up and ran inside the castle. Inside, Tahra put on dry pajamas and climbed in bed. She was far too tired to worry about combing her hair. It could wait until the morning. The bed was much better than sleeping outside on the ground where she had been minutes before. It felt good to have the night air surround her, but it was a little chilly, so Tahra was glad to be inside where it was nice and warm. Back at the police headquarters, Kate walked in their room. Hi, Dad. How was the making of the movie today? Kate greeted. Great, the movie is completely finished. Tomorrow, I will have a copy of the DVD, Nick responded cheerfully. How exciting! I can't wait to see it, replied Kate. Then Kate, Beth, and Nick climbed onto the air mattress to go to sleep for the night. Kate was using a smaller one for herself, and Beth and Nick were sharing a larger one. The next morning, Beth woke Kate up for school. Downstairs, like yesterday, Marietta was making breakfast. Marietta didn't look that tired. She looked refreshed and awake. Good morning, Kate. I have something to tell you. The flames, Marietta started. Oh, did they reach our house? Kate interrupted with fear shimmering in her little eyes. No, the flames are gone. They all vanished. Really? Yes, at midnight, fire planes from Washington, D.C. came to help. 2 hours later, all the fires were completely gone. You can go back to your house now. The only bad news is many trees have been destroyed, which was home of many animals. Although your house was unharmed, the perimeter around your house is nothing but burnt black. Along with that, the horse stable burned down. I sent a few workers there to clean up the mess and rebuild the stable. Well, at least our house didn't burn down, Kate sighed, relieved. Yes, that is a very good thing. I'm going to really miss you, although I only met you. I'll miss you also, she declared, once again hugging Kate. You know, where to find me, and you are more than welcome to come any time you desire. Thank you. I will definitely make sure to come visit. I only have to work 2 hours today, then I will come back here and pack up and go home, informed Nick, adding to the conversation. Finally, their spirits were all lifted and happy knowing the disastrous forest fire was over. Now, hopefully, today they would be able to find more on where Tahra went, or perhaps Marietta's search party would be able to actually bring Tahra home. Everyone was in a good mood. Maybe Tahra would return today. They could only hope.